Okay, everybody, it's great to have you back again this weekend, or this week, not weekend. My goodness, I had a great weekend. Some of you would have noticed that I was at the races in Newcastle this weekend. Thank you to a few of you who sent through some tips. We had an awesome time, but we are back this week and we are going back to answer some questions that you came up with last week in terms of the model, in terms of what we've been doing, and just really going into a little bit more detail about some of the questions that you asked from last week. Now, as you would see, we have Saoirse with us, we have Darren with us, and we have Sam with us from last week. But we also have Mick Malone with us. Welcome, Mick. Great to see you on the call.
Thanks for having me on, guys. Thank you.
Because what we thought we would do before we get into all those questions about the model, really understanding that nitty gritty, is we wanted to make sure everybody had a great update on the horses as they are, what they're doing, where they are, those sorts of things. And the person who purchased these horses for us, who found these incredible horses, is Mick. So there is no one better than Mick to give us an update on the horses. Can I ask you, Mick, tell us about what's happening with the miRunners new purchases?
Well, it's really great, and thanks for having me on, guys. All 6 horses are under saddle, and we've had like a lot of trainers will tell you they love this horse and they love that horse. At the end of the day, there's not a lot you gain in these early sort of situations. They just go through the realms. But what you do find is temperament and attitude. And we've had absolutely nobody's called and said, "Oh God, we're going to do this one," or they've just really handled it very, very well. So from that point, they've been sound. We haven't had any little injuries. It's just been really touch wood that we don't. But sometimes no news is good news, and that's certainly the case with horse breakers.
And just touching on one of those things, I remember very early on, we were up at the sales once and you're walking around and you're actually looking for horses that were sleeping in their stalls, because that gave a really good indication of the temperament. And it's just, the temperament is so important. And you're saying that at the moment, they're all looking like they've got a great temperament at the breakers.
Yeah, I always say, I'm not sure if you have an edge in this game anywhere, but I sell a lot of yearlings as well. So, and with that, I've probably sold... I've sold Everest winners, Golden Slipper winners, and Melbourne Cup winners. And if there is an edge, it's getting to see how they handle all situations. And so often those horses that handle that situation really, really well, in the progression of leading up to going to the sale and getting to the sale. I could talk about this forever, but there's one thing to love how they look, but it's, so often you get a yearling at a sale that's just a little bit finicky on their feet, or things worry them and they just don't sleep and relax. And I think I like to get around after the sale or sort of late in the afternoon, just wander past the horses that we're interested in. And so often they're just snoring, they're flat out, all the noise around them, they just don't move. And that's something that has to tick off when I like a horse. And then adding to that is the fact that when they get to these breakers, they eat well, they sleep well, they handle all the pressures of what goes on. And it's a lot of pressure for a young horse. They also sort of had a little bit of a break from the sale, but, it's back to business. And like I said, we've had, all the little updates that you guys will have got, I've watched. I've also spoke to the guys that have them, and just everyone's really, really happy with them. It's Jake Capewell, who has the Better Than Ready colt. And on that Better Than Ready colt, it's really, really interesting pedigree update there. Don Carleon, who ran second in the Blue Diamond, is out of a half sister to the mother of the colt that we bought. And not only is that a tick for that pedigree, that Better Than Ready pedigree, it's certainly a big tick because Don Carleon is by Extreme Choice. So Little Knickers, that's another big tick for him, who's another stand that's going wonders. But I asked Jake Capewell, and just for interested people out there, you Queenslanders, Jake Capewell is Kurt Capewell's brother, who plays for Brisbane Broncos.
Yep.
But I asked Jake, how's he going? And I think I asked him exactly, was it just another horse or did the horse break in really well? And he said he got into him early because he was very forward. And he just said he just didn't turn a hair, didn't leave a note, and just did everything perfectly. So, and we got that feel from most of the, I would suggest if we had a problem, but we haven't had any problems, which is, it's terrific.
And there are other benefits from that pedigree update as well, because obviously you bought that horse really well. But if you went to go and buy that horse again now through the sale ring, what sort of implications do you think those wins would have on them?
Well, I think the colt himself, I actually, Henry Field from Newgate bought a Better Than Ready in session 1 at Magic Millions. This colt was in session 2. And maybe he was in session 2 because that pedigree just was maybe lacking that good horse like a Don Carleon in the pedigree. I can certainly assure you now this horse would have been session 1. And like I was saying, when I had a good look at the Better Than Ready that Henry Field bought for his Colt Fun, which is, everybody knows they run in the China Horse Club, the colours. And I actually sent it to the guys at miRunners, and I did 2 photos. I put them together, the one we bought and the one that Henry bought. And I actually ran into Henry at the recent sale. I showed him the photo and he said, you know what? He loved our colt. He said he a bit more refined than the one he bought. And he said that was the one knock he had, was his bloke a touch heavy. Don't get me wrong, the colt that Henry bought, we all wanted to buy. He made $500,000 and our bloke made 70. So I can assure you on type and certainly now on pedigree, there's not, a difference of, 430,000 now. He'd be a colt that would walk through the ring, and he might not make 500, but he'd certainly be north of 150 to 250, somewhere in there. So I think we've bought really, really well. He's probably the one horse in my head that's really stood out when I saw him, because he was a second session horse. I was actually surprised on type he was there. And then the pedigree's now just been backed up with Don Carleon, who knows? He'll certainly be winning a nice race between now and then. His Blue Diamond run was phenomenal. Everyone talked about it. The winner was great, Little Rose, but Don Carleon was certainly a horse that didn't get all the breaks, but was extremely strong on the line. So who's to say he doesn't win a Gold Slipper?
And just on that, in terms of when you're purchasing yearlings, it really does show, like that particular example shows that it's not just about pedigree. It's not just about the way they work. It's what you bring is an art of bringing all of those together.
Yeah, well, it's like it's all those little things that you love, and you still get it wrong, but it's a game of chance. I think there's a lot of good judges in the world that do their job. I think it's about shooting bullets in the right way and just I don't know. It's hard to explain because I look at every single yearling at the sale, and I guess we might as well talk about it because I read it on Facebook all the time. How can Mick buy for PRL, and how can Mick buy for miRunners and other clients? Well, for me, I've never purchased a horse or suggested a client purchase a horse that I haven't extremely loved. Like we've bought 6 horses for miRunners, and I would have bought another, 3 or 4 or 5 horses for other groups. And those other groups are single owners that have always trusted me for the last 20 years to advise them in bloodstock. And it's not confusing. It's just there's horses for courses, if you know what I mean. I come together. I looked at, I think Magic Millions was the best part of 1,200 horses. I saw every horse, as we've said in the past. I would have seen probably 30 or 40% of those twice, and then another 10% of those 3 times. And I just get down to a really nice list that we all sit down, and there's horses that Darren loves, and the pedigree, or it might be one of our trainers that's fallen over themselves to have, and we actually believe that trainer suits that horse perfectly. So it's even a bigger tick than the one we gave it. It's just so many little things that come to hand. So for anyone that believes that maybe I'm select on where they go, it's certainly not my go. I can assure you, everyone knows now how passionate I am about it and the game and horses as a whole. It's all I've ever done my whole life is horses. That I put the horses forward that I love, and I certainly wouldn't do that if I didn't love them. So they find where they've got to be, if that makes sense. And the best part about what's happened here is there's just a lot less competition now, because we can actually, I can have clients under the new miRunners model that Darren and the guys have set up. I can love a colt, and some of my better clients, whether it be Max or Neil or whoever it might be, can take 20% or half or whatever, and we can just do deals with horses now where there's less competition. Trainers that we were hoping we'd send it to, so often we ran into Kieran Maher, even agents, like I would have run into Bruce Slater plenty of times on horses, and we outbid them and they outbid us. But now we can actually get together and have a conversation about that horse going to that particular trainer that the agent has in mind, or the client of ours had in mind, and take a percentage of it. So look, I think it's just it's been made my life a lot easier, I'm going to say.
Well, that's good, because you do a great job and everybody loves what you do. So if it's made it any easier, that's awesome. But it's great to have you with your passion and Darren with his passion as well, because Darren buys horses that you love as well. So between the two of you, that's a great combination. But I was going to say what we're going to do now is head across to some questions in terms of the new model. And I know, Mick, your time is short. So we're going to say goodbye to you now, and we're going to continue on with the rest of the questions. So thanks for joining us, Mick.
Thank you so much for having me, guys. I've got a 4.5-year-old that's wanting to bang the door down and come in and jump all over me. So it's best I jump off. So thanks for having me, guys. Enjoy the rest of your meeting. And
thanks, Mick.
And jump in and don't buy sharing one, buy sharing all, because honestly, I've loved them all. And if you want to spread a bit of risk, that's the way to go.
Thanks, Mick.
Thanks, guys.
Is that bye?
Okay, everybody, we wanted to make sure that we had Mick here with you, and so that he could talk through some of those things. As you can see, he is as passionate as always about all of the horses. He is absolutely blown away by that Better Than Ready pedigree update. He was the first one to come screaming to us saying, have you seen what's happened? It's an incredible thing for us to have been able to purchase at that price, and to have a horse now, even in these early stages, that, you know, in terms of valuation, significant upgrades. But now, Darren, I'm going to ask you a lot of questions. Are you ready for a lot of questions?
I'm ready, Ariella.
That's awesome, because we have taken the questions from comments that were made on last week's call. Saoirse also put out a call for questions, so we've got those, and we've had a few questions that have also come in through email. So we wanted to go across all of those. But let's dive straight in, Darren. Let's start with one that's come up a few times in particular. The question is, if there is 1,000 owners contributing $10 per month management fee, that's a fair bit of money. Tell us a little bit about that.
So, yeah, I think to set the record straight, historically, miRunners horses have had between 400 and 500 unique unit holders, which means there's only 400 or 500 people that are paying the $10 a month. So I think the numbers that we were getting at about 4,000 a month in management fees. So as you see on this screen, there's 4 faces. There are other people behind the scenes who help us. So this is a business. It's not a hobby. We run it as a business. The aim is to make a profit one day. I think once we get to 12 or 13 horses, we'll be close to break even, or at break even, if we don't have any horses that we can't sell. So that assumes we sell every horse. A lot of people at the moment have been buying 4 and 5 units of horses. So our average might come down to maybe 300 unique owners. So, historically, miRunners has run at a loss because the costs keep increasing, feed increases, trainer costs increase, different trainers charge different fees and put their prices up sporadically. So we need that $10 to run our business and to keep providing you the experience that we want to provide you and that you expect us to provide you. And yes, one day there'll be the business will make a good profit, and that's just part of business. It is what it is. Without profit, we don't exist. And every syndicator aims to have a lot of fun and get their customers and their owners a good experience, and try and buy their owners and customers a good horse that wins races and increases their value of the thoroughbred. So we're no different. It is a business. And as I say to people who ask me, if $10 a month is too much for you, that's okay. Maybe we aren't the syndicator or the micro syndicator for you. There are plenty of other syndicators out there who do it and who are licensed through ASIC. So, we're very open about our costs, about our cost structures, about our aim to provide a great experience and to try and make a profit. Otherwise, why would we do what we do?
Yeah, and probably a good point to note as well is managing a large number of owners does actually take quite a few customer service people, does take quite a few people, because Saoirse's amazing in terms of every time she's tagged, she's trying to answer all of the questions, but it is a very time-intensive job. And a lot of time-intensive tasks. So that's also important to remember that that comes into the equation as well, doesn't it?
Yeah, and look, I think up front we've been very open and showing you all the costs of each horse. We do everything at cost. Every part of that cost structure, whether it's the upfront purchase or the ongoing training and adjustment and vet fees, all those are at cost. And if at the end of that horse experience there's a surplus, then the owners get that money back. We will keep our $10 plus GST a month because we've got, you know, marketing, employment costs, platform costs, insurances, underwriting horses that don't get fully sold, you know, lots and lots and lots of costs, right, to run a business. That's why last time it didn't really work, and that's why miRunners was pivoted into TRL in the old model, because it didn't make a profit, and the guys were trying to get the shareholders a return on their investment. This is very similar, right? We are confident that if we do everything at cost and we're very transparent with people, then people will trust us, and we'll all have a lot of fun, and we'll have a great experience. That's the aim.
Yeah. It's, well, that's why we're all here, is to have fun. And with Mick choosing horses, there's definitely a fair amount of fun in there. That's for sure, guaranteed. Let's try another question now. This one is, why is the monthly fee about the same as the old model? Some of the new horses are only a percentage of a horse.
So under the old model, when we started that, it was $15 a month, including GST. We then increased that to $16 a month after the fifth or sixth horse. And as the business went along, and I was only a very small shareholder in those days, and didn't have a lot of influence, the cost of the horses were getting bigger and bigger and bigger, and our revenue was staying constant. And we found that we were buying 100% of horses at lower prices because we were competing with other buyers or with other trainers or with other owners. So I think under our current model, while we only own a proportion of the horse these days, in most cases, you know, we've got a compliance cost per year of about 20 grand a year per horse.
Yep. And that doesn't change, does it?
Doesn't change. Whether we own 1% or 100%, that we've got to pay to sire custodians, give or take $20,000 per year for the audit, for the ASIC fees, for the prize money distribution, for the collection of proceeds from unit holders up front, monthly collection of their training fees, payment of bills, the external auditor, the internal auditor. You know, it is a very expensive process, and that's why some of the horses at this time are $4 and $5 a month in training and ongoing costs, plus our $10 plus GST. So that is what it is, right? You know, the old days made no money and they lost money. That's not our aim. Our aim is to be here forever, to grow to 50 horses, have a sustainable model that we're profitable and we're providing great experiences to our customers and our owners. Yeah,
and that's how we will be able to bring different experiences to everybody. That's correct. Rather than just yearling experiences, we're looking at tried horse experiences, breed mare experiences. If we manage to one day have a stallion experience, there will be a lot of different experiences, but we won't be able to provide those experiences without getting us to a point where we can provide these experiences profitably. So that's also something I probably think we should all keep in mind. But that's an awesome explanation, Darren. Now we have another question here, and I'm sorry I didn't mention the names of the people who asked questions previously. This question has come in from Scott. The question is, why does the monthly unit price stay the same even if the horse is spelling?
So normally in the industry, if the horse is out spelling, you get charged, you know, 40, 50 bucks a day versus 150 or 170 a day when the horse is at a trainer being trained and going through their process. So our model simply would not work if we changed the monthly direct debit we were charging people.
Yeah.
People love our model because it's a constant amount each month. So you can budget in your own life that, okay, I'm going to buy into a horse for 150 to $50, and it will cost me 2 cups of coffee a month to maintain that horse. Not 3, not 1, not it's raining, so I'm going to pay less, or it's fine, I'm going to pay more. It's the same price day in, day out until the end of the experience. And then at that point, if we're over, then we will give you a refund of that. If we're under, we will bear that.
Yep.
So there's no other way of doing it. You know, when you've got 400 or 500 owners in a horse, people need certainty. And I'm an accountant, right? We love certainty. How we work it out is we say, okay, this horse is going to be around for 4 years. The cost over 4 years is X 100,000. We divide that back by 1,000 units by the 48 months, and that gives us what the cost per month is. Because up front, as you would have seen in the spreadsheet, sire custodians have got a fee each year of 3,500 they charge us to do all the prize money receipt and distribution to all the unit holders. Now, there'll be no prize money for the first 8 or 9 months potentially, or 10 months. So that'll be a surplus straight away. But we might find that the vet costs are higher, or the feed goes up, or inflation's more than what we've budgeted for. So our aim is to give you an upfront cost that's fixed, an ongoing cost that is fixed and never changes. That's our aim.
Yeah. Yeah, absolutely. Now, I think Scott might have asked us the second question. He said, you share financial data on a regular basis, e.g. profit and loss statements, so miRunners can see how their money is being used. Now, at the moment, we are required to publish the audited results every year, aren't we, Darren?
Yes. So what we'll be doing going forward is once a year we will give you a statement of income and expenses, right? Not a profit and loss statement, because these entities don't run at a profit and loss. It'll be what we've got in, what we've paid out for that 12 months, and that will show what the surplus is, or what the deficit is that carries forward to the next year. So if there's a surplus 1 year, which there will be hopefully in the first 12 months, that'll be potentially eaten up in the second, third, and first year, eaten up in the second, third, and fourth year, because costs will increase and the animal become more expensive to maintain.
Yep.
But each horse is unique in its own entity, its own income statement, and each horse. So if one horse costs us more than the other, well, the owners in that horse will benefit and get a refund at the end. Not each year, because we don't know what that is. We've budgeted for the whole experience life, but at the end of the experience, so if a horse is no good and we sell that horse, then we'll draw a line at that point and refund any surpluses or cop any deficits ourselves.
Yep.
That's a fair way, and you'll hear us talk about us being fair and open and transparent. That's our aim. That's what we will do 110% of the time.
Yeah, and Jenny had asked a very similar question that she was asking on a quarterly basis, but to keep our fees as low as we can, given that we now understand a little bit more about size fees, that's doing things on a quarterly basis is not an option, is it, Darren?
No, it's not feasible at all, because it provides no benefit to anybody. It just incurs more costs, and when you're giving out an answer to 500 different owners who share that with their partner or friends, all of a sudden 1,000 questions came back at you that we've got to answer those questions and give our customers the time to answer their questions properly. That takes a lot of effort that we just haven't got those resources in house. Right, so whether we give you the summary quarterly or annually, it won't change when you get that refund back, if there is a surplus. And we've budgeted for there to be a surplus, right? But you won't get it until the end of the experience.
Yeah. Yeah, that makes sense. Now we have a question, which is it? I think it's come up because of the difference between the old model and the new model.
Yeah.
The question is, why isn't the buy-in price the auction price divided by 1,000?
So the auction price, well, let's talk about the Pirata Cup, for instance. It cost us $500,000 plus 50,000 of GST, so 550,000. We then got to pay 4 months. So we sell the thoroughbreds based on, we include the first 4 months of training costs and all those costs in the upfront cost that we charge you. And that's how we can now say to you, you can buy a share of the Pirata for $282 upfront. And I think it's $15.95 a month. Sorry, I haven't got it currently.
You're the accountant, Darren. I'm not going to have those numbers with me.
Yeah, that's
correct.
That's correct.
Right.
Yeah, spot on, Darren.
So the $282 upfront includes 4 months of training, 4 months of insurance, the breaking in cost, the upfront costs of getting the PDS and the back of house administration. It includes GST. It includes the $6,600 race series fee. So all those costs are added in, and we then multiply that by our share of the animal divided by 1,000 units. And that gives us what the price is. So, you know, we are trying to be very, very, very transparent, right? And people are seeing that. And I think that's why we're getting such good sales, because people are trusting how we're doing it and our approach. Because we don't, nothing here to hide. You know, it's about people can have a disagreement over $1 or $2 a month. Well, if you can't afford $1 or $2, well, maybe we aren't for you, or maybe horse racing is not for you. You know, it's about having fun. It's like having a good cup of coffee. A good cup of coffee lasts 5 minutes. A good racing experience lasts a whole month.
Or you could say it lasts a whole lifetime. You can make lifetime memories. Come on, Darren.
You know, and look, I've been talking to a few of the people that have been in miRunners since the start in own horses, and they love it, and they have met so many good friends through that process. And yeah, they're loving how we're doing it. They're loving our transparency. Most of them didn't understand what they were paying when they used to be in the old model. Now everyone's very clear what we're doing. And if you aren't, you just need to ask us some more questions, and we will share openly with you. And that also takes a bit of the heat out of the online discussion, because I think now we're being very open about it and telling people, hey, here's that cost. Yeah, like it, that's quite okay. There are other syndicators you can go and talk to, but we all charge, right? My racehorse, they charge on their 50 horses. We all charge to try and make a profit out of the business, because it is a business.
Yep.
We're just open about ours, open about what our aims are and how we charge. That's all.
Yeah. Now we do have another question, which I think is a really, really critical question. In the old model, sometimes horses sold for a very long time until they were sold out. When will the sales stop on the horses that we have now?
So on the 15th of May, we'll be ruling a line and stopping. Sorry, the 10th of May, because we need to follow that. So on the 10th of May, we'll be ruling a line, and I'll be keeping any units that aren't sold.
Does your wife know about this?
No, we can't wait. Well, as I've said, all the horses that we have acquired, I would have acquired in my own life as Darren Halpin in my Just Fun Racing family syndicate, right? So, you know, we don't mind how many shares are left in all these horses, because I would have bought them. I love them. Mick loves them, and we sent them to trainers who I know and who I trust will get an outcome.
Yeah.
So,
and that's really important, I guess. Not only, and I guess I touched on that before, not only does Mick love them, you love them as well.
Yeah.
But it also brings up a couple of things. There is a much shorter window that you can purchase into these horses. So, and all of the costs up to there are included. So everybody's paying the same price at that point. If you buy in at day one, or if you buy in before May, you're going to be paying the same price. So you actually benefit from buying in earlier than you do from buying in later. So that's a little bit of a change in the model as well. But yeah, finishing at that point. Sorry.
Yeah, look, I think historically, where miRunners was owned by a group of external shareholders, there was like 15 shareholders. They couldn't keep a horse and not syndicate it, right? Whereas in this business, well, I'm it, so I'd love to own part of these horses. And my family used to all buy a share in every horse that we bought at miRunners. And now I'm saying, well, don't do that until the end, because hopefully there are some wins left and we'll all get them. I'll pay for them, but yeah, we'll own part of these animals. So,
yeah.
and that's going to help people understand that once we start offering the tried horse experiences, that we're only going to have a very short window to be buying in, right? So like recently, I bought a share in a horse called Buyin for myself, and it races in the new market on Saturday. That's a big chance, by the way. And that's, we had 2 weeks to put that deal together. So going forward, I would love to be up and running and having enough customers where we can offer that sort of experience to our owners, right? So it'll be, we go to market, we give people, 2 weeks to buy in, and then that's it. And then I'll keep whatever's left. And that's the beauty about me owning miRunners, is that whatever's left, I'm not going to buy a horse that I would not have bought.
Yep.
I think over a year or so, things will quickly start selling out, and people will learn what we're doing, why we're doing it, how we're doing it.
Yes,
that's our aim. So,
yeah. Having a definite time frame on that, understanding up front is really important, because it is different to how it was before, and it is also really helpful for us to know that the horses are underwritten as such, with the rest of the horses going to you. That definitely gives some surety to all potential owners as well. So I think that's really important. Now I'll keep going with these questions. This was a question from Anthony. I think we've almost sort of answered it already. It says, are you buying any more yearlings or horses this year?
So yes, we are. Our aim is to be buying one horse a month, right? Or one horse every 6 weeks. So we started out with these 6 to try and kickstart the customer base and get miRunners back on its feet from a racing perspective. But they're all yearlings, so we're at best 7 months away from a racing experience. Most of the 2-year-old races aren't for until October.
Yeah.
And leading on from there, we're going to offer the broodmare experience of Dusty Tycoon over the next month and a half. And we're going to be trying to buy a horse at the Adelaide Magic Millions next week with Richard and Chantal Jolly. I think Mick's going down there Sunday to do that, or Saturday. And we will keep, I'm looking for opportunities as we speak. So to try and find other experiences. Like last year, we tried buying I Wish I Win. And obviously, we missed out. We did buy another horse, but within a week of us acquiring it, it bowed a tendon, so we couldn't syndicate it. That's what happens in this game. You can't get insurance for a bowed tendon. So that comes out of the management fee. It's not a good experience from where we are. Our owners don't have that burden, which is great. But yeah, those things happen. But you will definitely be buying horses, and the aim is to just keep buying horses year in, month in, month out. You know, varying horses, tried horses, overseas horses, horses from New Zealand, from the UK, cups horses, yearlings, stallion shares, broodmares. Every part of the game we want to share with you.
Yeah, that sounds good. Now we have gone a little bit over time, so I am going to get into some rapid fire questions, Darren. They're going to be rapid fire answers as well.
Done. Well,
Okay. So we have another question which is coming up, which is where will the next horses go? And I guess you almost answered that, depending on what comes up.
Richard Jolly is our plan, and potentially one in Western Australia. So
Sounds
South Australia and Western Australia.
How do we know if we'll be able to see the miRunners colours on horses?
If we own more than half, then we will have our colours, unless we've had to do a deal to get into a horse. So like the Cosmic Force, we own half, but Simon Head bought the horse and he said that he wanted colours. So we love the horse. It was either say no, we're out, or accept his colours or their colours, which we did. So you know, this game's all about personalities and about managing personalities and having good partnerships. And little things like colours can get people offside. So that's what we do. For example, the Pirata cult, you know, Mick's put some of his big clients into that, but they called it the Kitchwin Stallion Fund. But it's not their fund. It's just Mick's heap of Mick's big clients have gone in for 55%. We're the biggest owner, the biggest single owner. So we're going to make up a new set of colours for the Pirata cult that mix in their biggest owner and our colours into a new combination, which will be pretty cool.
Yeah, that does sound cool. We've got another question here. Does the new miRunners model affect TRL from Bob?
No, not at all. It has no impact. No, the answer is that no, it doesn't at all. We compete with them effectively, right? We're both micro syndicators. Yeah, but just I think we're both in different markets, right? A lot of people still buy shares in TRL horses or in the TRL in their teams, and then they buy shares in ours, and they buy shares in my racehorse, and they buy shares with Bennett Racing. We're all in the same pool, playing with the same customers, trying to get that good experience.
Yeah. Now I've got a question here about the old model, about Zushak. Are there any refunds that are due at the end of Zushak's racing career covered by the new miRunners owner?
No. So just to understand, all the horses that are in a trust administered by sire custodians. So it's not me or miRunners Australia who do LTD. It's sire custodians run each horse in their own set of accounts. So under the old model, any surpluses were paid to miRunners as our profit, and any shortfalls we would have to underwrite. So that's how that one is. So there will be no refunds at the end. It'll only be if the horse is sold, and the chances are, if as a gelding, you'll probably be given away to a good home. So that's what we're thinking once the racing career finishes. So no, there will be no refunds under the old model. Under the new model, there certainly will be.
Yeah, and many people would remember how Shannon from Emran Park treated Zushak when he wasn't well. So there might be some long lost lovers reunited, shall we say? I think, but
he's a lovely horse, so.
Yeah, he is a lovely horse. Now, we've also got a question from Steve about the Better Than Ready colt. Are we paying up the second cutest fee?
Yes, we will be. Very good question. Actually, we haven't talked about that at all, right? So as you'll see, all of these horses will be paying up the nominations for Magic Millions, for the Slipper, for the Diamond, for the Golden Rose, if they're cutest for cutest, if they're bulbs for bulbs. From options for the horses.
Yeah.
On what their quality is.
Yeah. So bonus schemes for horses that are most likely going to be taken up in most situations. Like you mentioned, Bob's, Cutest, Bobus, all of those will be looking to doing
look,
those.
We haven't budgeted on any of those in the upfront costs, but there's a bit of fat in the ongoing. So we're thinking that will be covered. We'll be covered by those. Yeah,
perfect. Now, I don't have any other questions there, Darren. I do have a couple of quick reminders that I do need to flick through. One was, we've noticed a few people had put mobile numbers or emails in the community on Facebook. We really encourage you not to do that. We really encourage you to just email us with a question. And if you can provide your phone number there or your email there, just to keep your privacy as much as possible. We don't really want people putting the phone numbers up on Facebook. And then another question, the owner certificates, there is about a 7-day turnaround on ownership certificate changes. A couple of people have sent through some changes. We'll work through those changes, but there is a turnaround on that. When you purchase, you get your certificate straight away, but if you want it changed, it'll take a few days. So just keep remembering that. And also the comms in terms of my stable, horses are starting to shop. If you are missing a horse, make sure you send us an email. Best way to make sure tasks are done is to send through to that support@miRunners.com email. That's the best way, rather than necessarily putting a comment on Facebook. So just wanted to cover off on those little admin questions. But I do want to say big thanks. Lots of talking there, Darren, lots of questions answered. It was great to see Mick as well earlier, and it's looking like a really positive, fun experience coming up. And next week we will have a bit more on the horses, won't we, Darren?
Yeah, look, I think so. And look, I've had lots of mates of mine, ring me and say, hey, which horse should I buy into? Or people have asked Mick, and I know this sounds like a bit of a sales pitch, but no one can give you the answer of which one's going to be successful or not successful, right? And our catchcry is, why own a large share of one when you can buy a small share of many, right? And I think the most successful miRunners owners are going to be those that have shares in most of the horses, because everyone's got shares in lots of horses, and the more you have, the more chance you have of getting a really good animal, having a really good experience. Because there are bad experiences in racing. It just happens, right? It's the good and the bad mixed in is part of the whole experience of thoroughbred horse racing. And it's the highs and lows.
And that's where the community comes in to lift the people up from the lows and to enjoy the highs.
Agreed. And look, I think you will see us, I've been, and a few of us have been on socials, being not tolerant of people who are disrespectful to others. We're happy to have open debate with people on costs and whatever, because we're open about it. But when people overstep the line and start being belittling or disrespectful, then I know I've blocked 5 people so far. For people, because we don't need that in the community. People, a lot of the feedback has been the community has turned people off because those 1 or 2 or 5 negative people ruin it for the rest of the community.
Yeah. So
if you're thinking about putting up a bad comment, I always say, maybe type it, reread it, and say, what would my mother or father say if they saw this comment, and then probably delete it and don't post it.
That is good advice. That is very good advice. And we are over time, but we are going to ask one last question, and we're going to finish on that question. And the question is, will there be any miRunners race day events or farm sale visits going forward?
Yes, there will. So there'll be lots of those events, right? So as part of, at the moment, we're just getting up and running and selling all the horses. But in the next 4 or 5 months, there will be events at Mick's Farm and in Brisbane at the trainer. We'd love to take you all down and show you the new Gold Coast track, what's happening down there. Do an event maybe at Pakenham with Mick Price at what he's doing out there, and it's all those experiences that we're going to get. Right, have a Sunday stall session with Gay Waterhouse. Go to Eagle Farm one day. So all those opportunities are going to be available for people.
Yeah, I think everyone can remember She's a Witness and 50 of us piling into the training tower down at Caulfield. That's now not something that we can offer at Caulfield, but perhaps we can do it somewhere else. That was a great day with Mick Price and She's a Witness. So hopefully we'll be able to bring you more events like that. But we have answered lots and lots of questions, lots of information. We will, as always, send this out to owners at the end. So maybe you can put that on and listen to us while you're doing something else, because we have spoken for a little while, but it's great to be able to get across all those questions. Make sure everybody is really aware of what's going on in the model. If you have any questions, please make sure, like we said, just email them through to support@miRunners. We will come back to you as quickly as we can.